Ole mole. Ole mole. Ole mole.
Hello, I am Dan,
And I am Can.
and this is a
Ole
Pebble.
mole.
A weekly podcast brought to you by Stirred Ramen Noodles. Candy's stirring her ramen noodles right now
What that looked like to you.
to have a festive feast from the eastern regions of the world. Stirred ramen. Amen.
Ramen. Ramen.
That was probably something Reese would say. All right.
Okay,
Let it rip.
all right. Well, should I do the silly one first?
You do whatever whatever the spirits guide
These
you.
are candid conversations, so I can do them however I want. Candid gets to do them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the silly one first. I have a question for you all.
Y'all or just me?
And anybody who's listened to this podcast or listened to Dan's posts on TikTok
Oh, shit.
and actually listens well will notice that he uses the word them when he should not. He should be using the word those in most cases that he does it. And I
We've
am going
addressed
to
this
ask
on the
a
podcast
question.
before.
Have I?
Yes.
Well, I want to pose it to the audience. I want to ask them, should Dan begin to become aware when he's doing this and try to actively speak correctly? Or should he just say thems forever? Now, should is kind of, okay, it's not up to us. It is up to Dan. But
Thems is some fighting words.
what do you recommend Dan doing? I believe he should start to practice saying it correctly. But
Stop trying to write my poll questions, okay? I create them on my own.
You
I
make
see
that
what
poll.
you're doing
No,
here.
I made the poll for today. Okay,
You're trying to make them poll questions be whatever you want them to be.
Or how could we say it?
You can put your input into the poll question if you want.
I'm trying to make those poll questions. Those, Dan, not them poll questions.
The school
I'm going to
marm's
try to
coming
catch
out.
you saying them throughout this podcast.
You're going to wear yourself. It's going to exhaust you.
I'm going to try to listen and see if I catch them. I might not notice them sometimes, but in your videos, I notice them. I'm like, what that fool say?
So you're saying I have an issue with them?
I am saying you have a issue with using the word them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's just part of my dialect.
No,
it's where I grew up, South Omaha.
Dan,
that's how we talk in South Omaha.
Maybe they do.
It's a regional
I don't
dialect.
know that. I'm going to start. You know what? I do not think your parents talk like that either. I think it's just sheer
My parents
laziness.
have their own problems, but how they talk about things in the world.
Do you think if your dad had this issue and your mom noticed it, do you think she would point it out to him like I'm doing to you right now?
No, she'd point it out to everyone else in the family.
Yeah, okay. See, so I'm being loving. I'm actually telling you, I honestly think you should work on it, but I will love you regardless because it is something you do.
So you wouldn't. It's over. Thems is the ways it's going to be.
But
Mama's
I do
out.
think you would. I don't know. I think you could start to notice it and say it correctly. There are sometimes it's hard. I've had it where I don't necessarily understand what you're saying because you say the word them and you're going through something and I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like it changes the meaning of what you're saying sometimes.
But does it?
You just used it in a way and you said, I have a problem with them. And I said, no, I think you have a problem with the way you use the word them, which is a big difference because if I have a problem with them, who are we talking about? Now I'm like thinking of
Does
people.
it really?
Okay, you're not that guy.
Does it
really? Maybe you should put a clip of him in there. Oh, God. Okay, so that's the poll. Dan says
Sure
no.
about that?
I say yes. Whoever. It doesn't matter. Dan's going to do whatever Dan wants to do.
You sure about that? Sure about that? Maybe I just, the hot dog sucker machine.
Okay, so
Oh, now we're going
Are you ready?
Hold on.
No, okay.
Serious time. Honest time with Candy.
I didn't write down my other question.
Let's have a
Honest time. I did used to do that.
How could you not write down your other question?
I don't know.
The way your brain's been working tonight.
Wow.
Was it about your post?
Yes. Since we're we will hit February 1st tomorrow, correct?
No.
Are we?
Oh, wait, yeah. When this comes out, yes.
Okay. See, I'm acting like we're on the day. I'm in character.
You are a character.
As are you.
Thank you. Valentine's Day.
That's from a different podcast.
It'll make sense in 2 weeks, folks.
They can always tell which ones we're recording on the same,
Yeah.
Because they match in some way. We refer to the other one. But
Post.
Yes, are Democrats or anybody that didn't vote for 47, are they becoming, in many ways, a lot of them, not all of them, obviously, but is there a good portion of them that are doing the exact same thing or similar? Are they becoming just as ugly on the inside with how they're treating one another? Or not?
Well, it's the same thing as we've discussed earlier and before of there's going to be parts of all groups that represent, is it all Christians that act this way? No, there's some decent ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the identity has been firmly placed on this group as this is what Christians are and what they're known as,
Mm-hmm.
no matter if there are some good apples in the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I think similarly on the Democrat side, same things are happening. And it's always been that way and it probably always will be that way, where there'll be people that are just as ugly, just as mean and myopic on their point of view of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, but I think there's a lot of people on that side that are just kind of like, no, whatever. We're just going to deal with it.
I think the people that are truly loving, and we kind of, in a future episode, you'll hear what we would say love is. And we came to the conclusion that love is oneness, just this unity, this equality of all in completely equal, but very diverse, right?
Yeah.
And the diversity is necessary. Okay. But everything's equal. Everybody's equal.
Mm.
All right. And money doesn't mean you might have more money, but that doesn't mean you're of higher stature.
Yeah.
You just have more money. I might have more, I don't know. I don't know why hippos came to mind, but that's what my mom used to collect, Might have more stuffed hippos. You might have more paper money, whatever.
Oh my goodness.
I saw, this is a little tiny side tangent. I saw a post today about something about MAGA, and it was something about like Elon and all them, right? And in the comments, someone said, I've always found it weird that when people hoard stuff, they're like shamed for it. But when they hoard money, it's okay. And I was like, I have never thought of it that way.
I heard one today. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm going to sidetrack you. Is that all right?
Go ahead. I've already sidetracked out.
I think
myself.
I sent it to you too. This was a woman that posted this, said, these guys that love these billionaires and respect them and think that they're being seen by them are probably the same guys that think the strippers at the strip club love them too.
Oh, God. These guys probably think their wives love them. Think about that. Because their wives probably, let's be honest, a lot of even not those wealthy people, but a lot of Christian marriages are loveless.
Yeah.
Because people you don't know how to love, huh?
They're practical.
Okay, yeah. Practical marriages. That's an inside joke.
Yes.
But Yeah, they don't really love each other because they don't know how to love themselves, period. That's what it is. But I think those people who love are only on, I almost said only on the side who didn't vote for 47. Would that be a false statement, though?
Yes, because I think naivete,
Ignorance.
just ignorance. People can still love, but they can still be extremely ignorant and naive.
They just don't believe these things that people are like systematic rape. It doesn't exist.
They don't see it.
They don't see it exist. Trans people, it doesn't exist. It's made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Naivety and ignorance. Yeah.
It's not an excuse by any means, but I think they can still exhibit love and tendencies that if they were to lose some of that naivete and ignorance, they would be they'd probably have a lot of regret and shame, honestly, because they're truly loving people and they see how they were affecting others around them, how they weren't being loved, and that there would be a lot of guilt that would become washed over them. What you're saying right now,
though, is exactly what we would have said about a Democrat coming over to Christianity.
Yeah.
They would have a lot of shame for all the things they did because they weren't loving. You see how that is? That's messy because it's like one side or the other. And you're right. They could be anywhere. It's not about sides because that's a separation thinking too.
Yeah.
You know? So even in that, it's if some of us don't know how to love, instead of saying, you're just not a loving person. Why don't you know how to love? Because you don't love yourself. Why don't you love yourself? Oh, wait, because you've been brought up in this teaching your whole entire life that tells you you're not lovable. So of course you're going to believe you're not lovable. And then you're going to go around creating situations to prove that you're not lovable.
Yeah.
Because that's how the subconscious works. So you're just really, really MAGA, it's no surprise that it's mostly evangelicals.
Mm-hmm.
What are evangelicals taught? From birth, of course. And that started back around the 70s, 80s, 90s when all of us were born. That 90s, what was it? Nate, what's his name? That comedian we like? Nate Bargatze. He has a really weird last name. Bargatze. He said that the 90s, like, you're a special kind of Christian if you're a 90s kid kind of Christian. Like, that was a special, like, there was something weird going on that amped it up. That's who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? These are the parents, the people in government are the parents of those kids and those kids, which are the Generation X kids. Right?
Yeah.
Boomers and Generation X are showing the toxicity of the relationship that was built from the teachings of James Dobson and what's his name that started Liberty University? Falwell. This is what this group produces. This is what it produced in the world is parents, people who believe that hurting your children is how you love them, children who were hurt and still kind of, a lot of them still believe that. Some of us got out of it, but some of us still believe, you know what I'm saying? And so some of us are teaching our children better. So then our children, you know, I think the next generations have a good shot of changing things, really good shot of fixing things. It's these boomers and Gen X, and we're Gen Xers. We're on the end of Gen X, so we're close to, I relate to millennials a lot, but, you know, I guess each generation has their quirks, but I think we're just seeing the peak, the fruit of the types of teachings that began in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why these people are acting this way.
It's the development of it. I saw one that kind of speaks to that a little bit too, was a kid came out and said, remember the WWJD bracelets? He says, why don't you ever hear about them anymore? He goes, I think honestly it's because it took all these kids from the early 2000s and made them into liberals.
That's probably true, actually, because it did. I remember having that. I had one of those bracelets, and I remember thinking, like, what would Jesus do? And I just thought Jesus was really loving and kind, and I'd never really.
It's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
To
I had no
say-
idea that Jesus like stood up to like religious leaders and screamed at them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just thought he was just this really loving guy, but he believed all the church stuff. He went to church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was at synagogue all the time.
I don't think he was, but I mean, as it
Oh,
was
yeah.
custom, but
He was teaching.
he did
but-
go in there and
But yeah, it just, I mean, it just shows that, that whole what would Jesus do if people actually looked at it and took it literally, kind of like a kid would take it and be like, oh, okay, let me see. And they lead, these younger kids, the millennials and the Gen Zs. The problem is that they believed what they were being taught.
Mm-hmm.
And that led them astray
Mm-hmm.
from the Christian belief because it's like, the mental gymnastics that today's Christians that are our age have to deal with to reconcile my behavior and my judgment on all these peoples is what Jesus would do.
Yeah.
That is a lot of backflips and movement that this old ass can't do anymore because
Yeah.
I would be in traction for 2 months.
Well, and I started thinking like maybe it didn't start in the 90s. Maybe it goes all the way back to Darby, like the 1800s.
It's been
Darby's
built,
in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all the way back to the Civil War in America.
it's been built
Because it
on
seems
old things.
pretty bad in America. I don't know if it's as bad everywhere else. Is it? Christians in America are a different kind of Christian
Oh, definitely. And honestly, it is spreading throughout the world in some areas. You get some in Korea.
because they are colonizing.
The
That's the
Christians
new
are-
type of colonizing.
Yeah, it has been. Africa has it too, where they have the mega rich pastors.
Mhm.
Korea has it. So you're seeing it
So it's
spread.
just colonization still. It's
Yeah.
just taking a different shape. We're not taking over
Yeah.
land masses. We're taking over thoughts
Yeah.
and ideas.
South America has. So it's actually these. Well, I wouldn't even say that because it is industrial. Korea is an industrialized country. So, but it's these places that Christians have weaseled their way into and put their ministries out and missionaries and corrupted these societies.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. I mean, it's a plague and a
Well,
scourge.
yeah, they've gone to like Uganda, I think, and
Yeah.
got them really against homosexuality and
Yeah.
stuff, so that you'd get put to death.
Yeah.
That's what they're going around and doing. Now they're just teaching, spreading this diseased religion because colonization is never good.
No,
It's just not.
no, definitely. So, any hizzle.
And
Yeah,
probably a lot of people knew that, but I just came to that realization.
Yeah, it's a plague.
So we talked about love and we talked about them. We talked about fear.
Anything else you want to get out while
I
you're
was
here?
trying to say, should Dan, one last question.
Oh, shit.
Should Dan stop using them incorrectly?
That's the same question
Should
you
he
started.
try? No, it's the same question. I just wanted to ask one more question. I wanted to ask it one more time. I meant one more time.
She's
Oh, I'm
really
sorry.
on me about this tonight. I'll keep asking them questions all the time.
No, those questions. Let's practice. We got to reinforce it in the subconscious mind now.
No, I'm just being difficult for you. It's like you're dealing with Bo. I'm purposely going to do it now. I'll litter
So
many
mature,
thems
so
in there.
mature.
Anywho. All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening and enjoy your weekend. And remember, listen to us.
We know a little bit of shit.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Bella.